Welcome back. From Bentleys to yachts to trips to Vegas and nights at the strip club, it was all paid for with tax dollars out of a government COVID-19 relief fund. Tonight, the CBS 11 I-Team and investigative reporter Brian New exposes the red flags that were missed and that could be missed again.
The Federal Payment Protection Program, better known as PPP, gave thousands of small businesses mainly forgivable loans. But in the rush to help, the government set up a program that was ripe for fraud. More than $500 billion.
It was a giant pot of money.
Money that was supposed to help small businesses.
Yeah, it has been tough.
But not every small struggling business was given a loan.
I was like, what did I did wrong?
And yet there are those who lied, who made up companies, who were handed millions.
And so every dollar that a fraudster got was a dollar that a legitimate business didn't.
Whenever there's a government program this big, some fraud is inevitable. But the CBS 11 I-Team found millions of dollars could have easily been kept out of the hands of fraudsters with a single computer search, a phone call, or door knock. This is the home address in Coppell for Dinesh Sah. It is also the business address Sah listed for multiple companies on PPP loan applications. According to court records, Sah was approved for funding for 11 different companies for a total of $17.7 million. Sah used that money, according to federal investigators, to pay off his house, and then to buy the house down the street, and then to buy this house, and this one, and this one, and this one, along with 2 in California, as well as a Bentley, a Porsche, a Corvette, and 2 Cadillacs. Sah was eventually arrested, charged with fraud, and remains in federal custody. His attorney declined to comment on the case. But as Sah awaits his trial next month, the I-Team found this all could have been prevented if just one of multiple red flags would have been caught. For starters, a search on the Texas Secretary of State website would have shown Sah started most of his companies just days before applying for federal aid. And then there are the bank statements and tax documents Sah used when submitting his applications. According to court documents, they were false and fraudulent. A call to the IRS would have caught that. But even if those were missed, there was still another red flag. The PPP loan application states loans will not be approved for those with a pending felony charge. In June, Sah was arrested and charged with felony domestic assault. 5 weeks later, Sah applied for 2 more PPP loans and was approved. The I-Team examined court records of other alleged PPP loan fraud cases and found many of these same red flags were missed in these cases too. But in some ways, the government predicted this. On the same day the Small Business Administration launched the program back in April, its own Inspector General released this report, warning of potential fraud.
We saw this coming. This is no surprise.
Jay DeWald is a former federal prosecutor. He says the government wanted to get the money in the hands of struggling businesses fast. So to speed up the approval process, the program was essentially based on the honor system.
We're going to take you at your word, and we're going to send you that money. And if you get that money and you lied to us about those things, we're coming after you.
DeWald says it's known as pay and chase, and while he says federal agents will be aggressive in tracking down fraud, the government won't be able to get it all back.
Never. They never do.
So far, the government has confiscated more than $6 million worth of homes, cars, and cash from Sah. But that's less than half of the $17 million he received in federal funds. According to court records, investigators believe Sah sent much of that money overseas to India.
You'll never get it all back. There's a lot of harm these folks did. It wasn't just stealing the money, but stealing the opportunity for another business to actually remain in business.
Sah's federal fraud case is set to go to trial on December 14th, while his domestic violence case is set for trial the very next day. Meanwhile, according to a recent Senate report, red flags have now been raised on more than 11,000 PPP loans, totaling more than $3 billion. With the I-Team, Brian New, CBS 11 News.